So as a Jamaican, I've been feeling a lot of different emotions for the past week because of Hurricane Melissa, from, fear of the damage that the hurricane was going to do to Jamaica, from like just not hearing from people after the passage of the hurricane, to like a sense of pride, proud to be a Jamaican, seeing the response coming from Jamaicans in the diaspora, stepping up big time to support Jamaica, and also a sense of like just another sense of pride, seeing the world stepping up to support Jamaica, from Trinidad to Barbados, America, England, Canada, El Salvador, Venezuela, countries all over the world stepping up to help our beautiful island to recover from this devastating hurricane. And then now I'm feeling a sense of embarrassment, seeing the opposition leader of Jamaica trying to politicize this natural disaster, the worst natural disaster we have ever seen in the history of Jamaica, and to see the opposition calling a press conference while the government is trying to do this recovery, while their bodies still being picked up by the American search and rescue team, to see the opposition leader gathering a few of the members and going to call a press conference is something that I've never seen before. This is unprecedented. I've been through through Gilbert, Hurricane Ivan, and so many more, and I've never seen an opposition party pretty much campaigning right in the middle of a natural disaster. And this is so embarrassing. As a Jamaican, I feel so embarrassed that the opposition leader would do something like this. And I know that there are people that's going to push back and say, look, the opposition leader was not campaigning. He was just concerned about his constituency. And at this point, I would say to that, look, election is over. There's no more PMP. There's no more JLP. All of us, we're all Jamaicans. And when you turn on your TV and you see some of the statement coming from the opposition leader, and this is at the time when there's still international media, there's Fox News in Jamaica, there's CNN in Jamaica, all of those international media outlets, they're still in Jamaica. And to stay abroad, to get called from other Caribbean people that you know in the Caribbean to say what is going on in Jamaica. Why are they saying not to support the Jamaican government website, supportjamaica.gov? Why are they saying that the government is thieving the money already? Why are they saying that all these distribution, these things that all these countries from around the world, they're mobilizing and sending to Jamaica, that it is only going to go to Jamaica Labour Party supporters and not PMP supporters? This is embarrassing. And this is one of the biggest embarrassments that I've ever seen in Jamaica at the time when we're trying to recover from this national disaster. And I'm going to prove, I know that there are a lot of people are going to say like, oh, this was not being politicized. The opposition leader have the right to be standing up for his constituency and all of that. But in this video, I'm going to prove to you that this was all about politics. This was all about the opposition leader trying to gain political mileage out of this devastating situation. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be presenting a bunch of facts and information that will prove that this opposition leader was pretty much campaigning right in the midst of this devastating hurricane in Jamaica. And as I said, I've never seen anything like this in all my entire life. From Hurricane Gilbert up until now, I've never seen anything like this. And if someone is watching this video and you have seen anywhere since Hurricane Gilbert, any opposition party calling a press conference in the middle of a hurricane while the government is actively trying in the search and rescue process. We're not in a rebuilding process yet. We are still in the search and rescue. While the opposition leader stood there and at this press conference, the American military, they were still picking up bodies Let that sink in. And I've never seen anything like this before. And this is a national disgrace. So let me play this first clip of the press conference that the opposition leader called. And just take a look.
All right, so I heard you speak about the relief supplies not being enough. Do you think that there is an act of sabotage at play there, any at all, in both constituencies or anywhere else, as a matter of fact?
All right, so I'll answer.
Sorry, I'm Jason Cross from the Jamaica Observer.
All right, thank you, Jason. I'll speak from Portland Eastern. I don't buy into conspiracy theories. If and I have no facts that there's an act or acts of sabotage. I will say if that were the case, that would be very idiotic. But we're living a real experience, and at this time, even before the hurricane, there were persons that were suffering from food insecurity. That is the Jamaican reality. I'm just simply here to say, listen, tomorrow we are go hungry. Let me put it that way. And next week we are go hungrier. And a hungry man is a hungry man. So if somebody is sabotaging, woe be unto you. Thank you.
So what you see the opposition party trying to do here is to paint a picture that all of the relief effort, every single relief that you see coming from all over the world, from America, Canada, England, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, all of those relief efforts, that it is not being distributed fairly. They are trying to paint an impression that a lot of these relief have already been in Jamaica Labour Party strong areas, and the People's National Party era is not getting it. And to me, that is, as I said, this is disgraceful, because we have never seen an opposition party having a press conference just 5 days after a hurricane. Never in the history of Jamaica have we ever seen this. And the opposition leader himself is going to admit that he's in constant contact with the Prime Minister of Jamaica. If there's any concern, the opposition leader has the Prime Minister number. He's called him several times, but still he's out there having a press conference. When the Jamaican government, there's also an information area. They have press release every day. And if they are concerned about the distribution of these resources, they have other means to get to the Prime Minister, to get to the information area, to find out what is really going on. And on top of that, like as I said, I am not in Jamaica, and I've been tracking this hurricane from start to finish, to when the first plane touched down in Jamaica, when Sean Paul touched down, when the plane from the Cayman Islands came down with the relief, the two first planes in Jamaica. I've been tracking everything. So the opposition leader have access to all of that. If I can stay out of the country and track all of these flights coming into Jamaica, so the opposition leader would have information that most, 99.9% of the relief that's in Jamaica right now, that's backed up at two airports. A lot of other countries have relief efforts going on that's not even in Jamaica yet, because there's no space for those relief efforts. And the opposition leader would have all of those information that, look, because of the logistical challenges, because of the areas that are cut off, a lot of these areas haven't been able to access any of these relief efforts yet, because the fact that they're cut off. And we just saw when the opposition leader was standing there in that press conference, we saw American military plane touching down in Jamaica to help with the search and rescue. So for the opposition to come out and to give this impression that Jamaica Labour Party constituencies are being serviced while People's National Party constituencies are left unserviced, like that is such a disgrace. Because as I said, for people on the ground know that most of the supplies, over 90% of these relief supplies, they have not been distributed yet. Most of what we see going on, most of the efforts on the ground in Jamaica right now have been carried out by Food for the Poor. A lot of celebrities like Sean Paul, like Shaggy, like D'Angel, a lot of the efforts that are going on right now are local. Because of logistical errors, because of all of these areas being cut off, a lot of the supplies that were shipped to Jamaica have not yet reached the hand of people. And the opposition leader knows that, but they're trying to get political leverage out of this situation. And to me, that is the most despicable thing that you can ever do. When it comes on to natural disaster, politics should be out of the way. If there's any time that a country should unite is whenever we have something like this. So to go out there now and to paint the picture that the Jamaica Labour Party people, like for people who are conducting this relief effort, they are going into areas and they're asking who's Labour right or who's PMP, or they're picking out the Labour right strong areas to service and not the People's National Party era. That is just so disgusting. So the next video.
And when I go to the community, I don't know what to say to them because they ask me, MP, you see my house, it was right here, it's no longer here, what do? I tell them that I have not yet gotten word from the government, right, to tell us how we're going to help them to rebuild and to get their lives back together, right? So, we're not asking because we are greedy. We're asking because the collaboration and the coordination on the ground is not reaching our people in South St. James. When I'm able to bring 2 bags of food like I did last night to the school at Malden High, they were not able to make breakfast this morning because it could only last 1 day. I'm asking you to help us to airlift some food into the communities to get the sick people out of the homes and into the hospital. We have some pregnant mothers. We were able to get to the hospital at Cornwall Regional just yesterday. Her baby was not moving anymore in her belly, right? We have an urgent need in South St. James, and I know everybody is trying.
Yes, so this is just so embarrassing. So to have Nikisha Burchell right there, emotional, almost in tears, talking about her experience in her constituency, talking to people in the community that's worried about rebuilding and saying that she haven't heard from the Prime Minister yet. That you can't get more political than that, because everybody know, like down to the toddler, like we are not at the rebuilding phase yet. The hurricane just passed 5 days ago, not in the rebuilding phase. As I said, the American search and rescue, they are in those areas, in the Keisha Burchell area. They're in Westmoreland, and they are still searching for bodies in those areas. So how did we get from search and rescue, finding people, making sure that they're alive, giving them some food to eat, making sure there's clean water, all the way to rebuilding? All the way to rebuilding. How did we get there? Day 5 of a hurricane. And that is why I'm saying that this is politicizing a natural disaster, because you don't have to be a political science. You don't have to be in politics to know that we are not in the rebuilding phase yet. So to have Nikisha Burchell there, like, look like she's fake crying or something, talking about a woman losing her home, and she's saying that she haven't heard from the Prime Minister yet, as if the hurricane look for People's National Party supporter as opposed to every single body in those areas have been suffering. PMP are not suffering any much worse than Jamaica Labour Party supporters, and we are not in the rebuilding phase yet. So that is just one example of how Mark Golin is politicizing this thing. And as I said, this is despicable. Like, to be taking advantage of people's pain and suffering for political mileage is one of the worst acts I've ever seen in my entire life. This is despicable.
The first question is, how much money would MPs need to adequately respond to the need? And this is each. How much would each MP?
I understand what you mean. I hesitate to attempt to answer that with a specific number. The scale of the damage is unprecedented. It's not yet quantified. and it differs from constituency to constituency. So it doesn't permit of one answer per constituency. There is, however, a threshold that I think MPs could handle adequately and which could make a huge difference because of their connections on the ground. I think it's important for Jamaica to understand that members of parliament on both sides, councillors on both sides, have networks into communities in every nook and cranny of the country. There are very large national organizations that are not centralized in the capital like government is. They're diffused and they're across the island. And the information can flow. Once there's connectivity, the information as to where the needs are flows very quickly and easily, right through up to me, if necessary, as leader, or the Prime Minister, I'm sure. So empowering members of Parliament, as long as there are accountability measures in place to ensure that the money or the goods are accounted for adequately and properly, using that structure and the councillors is a very effective way of getting to people in need. We will partner with local organizations who we have relationships with on a day-to-day basis, churches in communities and other organizations on the ground to cover the ground where needed. Now, in terms of the amount of money, what has been proposed, we got 1.5 million allocated on the Saturday before the Melissa hit. I had reached out to the Prime Minister that morning about it. We had a meeting at OPM about it. We discussed it, and he said he was authorizing $1.5 million as a kind of pre-Melissa effort to prepare us to have something. And that was useful, and we did our best to prepare ourselves with that. Tarpaulins, water, foodstuffs. But of course, the scale of this is so much greater than any of us anticipated, really, because we haven't experienced it before. That really needs to be replenished. I've been in dialogue with him. I believe he's going to announce another 1.5. I think Cabinet was supposed to, for relief purposes, and they're looking at a $3 million for issues to do with cleaning up and the like. I've said to him that the bureaucracy, the administrative requirements as to how you spend that $3 million, and please, public, bear in mind, we don't get this in cash. These are allocations that allow us to trust, as it were, the services, the food stuff from suppliers, and then we send invoices to a state agency who pay them directly. We don't handle any cash. Now, $3 million, when you're faced with thousands of people who are homeless, is not an answer to that question. And I'm not sure that for the major, I should put it this way, for the major response to the housing and shelter needs of the people, and even the food and water needs, the MPs cannot be the sole solution. We don't have the capacity to deal with housing needs on that scale. That needs a national reconstruction program with a proper governance structure attached to it and well-resourced. But certainly, if you were to give MPs even $50 million each, that would be something we would be able to make that money count for the people and the people who need it.
So Mark Golding, the opposition leader, went from I hesitate to answer to put a figure to $50 million. Can't you see that this man has lost his mind? $50 million per MP. And keep in mind, like most of Jamaica, like Kingston, St. Andrew, a lot of those areas are not damaged. But this man is proposing $50 million per MP. And as you saw in that interview, you can see that this man is in constant contact with the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And that is why I'm so upset about this. Because if the opposition leader is in constant contact with the Prime Minister, why is there a press conference? Why are they having a People's National Party press conference in the middle of search and rescue? And that is the problem I'm having with this. Why are they talking about rebuilding in the first week of a hurricane? As I said, I've been through Gilbert, I've been through Ivan, and all the small hurricanes in between. And I've never heard anybody, opposition leader, government, talking about rebuilding 5 days after a hurricane, and this is described as the most catastrophic hurricane in the history of Jamaica. And this man is calling a press conference, talking about $50 million per MP, talking about rebuilding. Which government in the history of Jamaica has ever come up with money to rebuild all of those houses that's been damaged from any hurricane, from Hurricane Gilbert to Hurricane Ivan? Which government has ever? And the Prime Minister had to come and clear up a lot of these things that was out there that the opposition leader is putting out there. And the frustrating thing is that Mark Golin knows what is going on. This is just to get political mileage, and that is the frustrating and the disgusting thing about this press conference. Mark Golin knows that the food that they had, all of these shelters had food in them before the hurricane, and the parishes that were devastated, 90% of those shelters were blown away. All of those food were gone. And they are calling a press conference to say that the government did not plan properly when they know that those areas had food and supplies in them before the hurricane. They know the Manning School was gone. They know a lot of those schools, hospitals, police station, completely wiped out. And they are coming on TV and pushing this narrative as if the government did not put supplies away for the hurricane, as if People's National Party supporters or People's National Party constituencies are not getting supplies, and Jamaica Labour Party's constituencies getting supply. And as I said, this is one of the most disgusting thing I've ever seen politically in Jamaica. This is just desperation from the opposition leader. And when the Prime Minister had to come out and to address the nation in Parliament and to update and to say, like, look, people that are from National Housing Trust homeowners, they are insured. They are going to get back something because, as I said, no Prime Minister, whether PMP or GLP Prime Minister, no Prime Minister in the history of Jamaica has ever rebuilt all of those damages from hurricane. Not even in America. When you look last year, when you look in California and you saw all of those wildfire in California, that thousands of houses burned down. America is a first world country. America is the richest country, the most powerful country in the world, and they could not rebuild the house for their citizens. People had to pick up the pieces with help from the government. And the same thing that happened in Gilbert, the same thing that happened in Ivan, that is what's going to happen. We're going to get a ton load of zinc and stuff like from China, from America. We're going to get building material donated to us, and that is going to go to help those people to build and to recover. And Gilbert, 5 years after Gilbert, a lot of places were not rebuilt. It took a long time after Gilbert before Jamaica went back to like 100%. And this was worse than Gilbert. So for the opposition leader to come and to think that the government is in a position where they are going to just rebuild Black River, rebuild Westmoreland, brand new houses, and everyone's going to get a key. Like, this is just like delusional. This is just, as I said, politicizing like a tragedy. And that to me is the most disgusting part of this. And even before the press conference, you saw the opposition leader in Westmoreland. Remember, this is not his constituency. His constituency was not damaged. This is not his, but he found himself in Westmoreland saying that he's going there to assess, just like what, a day after the Prime Minister already went there. And this man is in Westmoreland shooting a video that looks like a campaign, an election campaign video. I really hope this embarrassment doesn't continue. I hope both parties can come together and work to rebuild Jamaica, because this is just not looking good. And as I said, when the international world, international media is still in Jamaica, when the world is in Jamaica watching all the disaster and the recovery effort, to be having this type of divide, it just don't look good. And I hope for a day when these two parties can work together, because when I'm looking at the recovery effort, and I'm tracking, as I said, I've been tracking this from before the hurricane until after the hurricane, like almost 24 hours, like tracking. And what I've observed is that what I think would be a good thing. I know there's a shadow minister in government, shadow minister of education, shadow minister of finance. I know there's all of that. But what I wish would have happened in a hurricane, in an instant like this, I saw the information, the minister of information giving updates like she's almost. I wonder if she got any sleep, like almost 24/7. I wish that there was someone from the People's National Party right there that could tag team with her. I wish that the Foreign Affairs Minister, because as I said, I'm tracking everything, and every article, every news clip, every video clip that I get, and I'm seeing foreign officials. The statement that I've been seeing is that we just got off the phone with the Prime Minister of Jamaica or the Foreign Affairs Minister of Jamaica, and I'm talking about probably about 100 that I've surfed the internet and came across. And I'm saying to myself, like the Foreign Affairs Minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith, she's taking all of those calls. She probably haven't slept since the hurricane. I wish that there was someone from the People's National Party to shadow her so that they could tag team. When we saw Desmond McKenzie, someone from the People's National Party should be shadowing him. The same thing with Valls. Valls is responsible for the pretty much a hurricane relief. Someone should be shadowing him. The health minister, the opposition shadow minister of health should be shadowing him in this time of disaster. And that is the type of teamwork that we need if Jamaica is going to pretty much rebuild from this devastation. And that is what I wish would have happened. One of the best images I saw coming out of this disaster was when, as I said, when the first two planes touched down in Jamaica, and we saw the premier of the Cayman Islands, very close relationship with Jamaica. And on that plane, we saw the premier and the opposition leader coming on the same plane, coming to Jamaica with other members of parliament and sending their regards in person, giving their regards in person, and greeting the prime minister and the officials in Jamaica, both the premier and the opposition leader. And I'm like, that would have been a good thing. And in Jamaica, we could not even see the prime minister and the opposition leader in the same JDF helicopter going up to look at the disaster areas. That would have set a better tone, and we wouldn't have all of this nonsense going on. And I hope for our sake that we can get there. I hope that they can work together, whatever committee they're going to put together to rebuild Jamaica, that they can work together and not politicizing this recovery anymore. There's enough politics to come after we get to a certain point of rebuilding Jamaica. But I think that both political parties should call like a truce and say, look, we're not going to politicize anything for the next 2 years. Our focus is working together to build Jamaica. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this one. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.